Sometimes he sold rice, sometimes he worked as a laborer, sometimes he farmed. He ran away from home 4 times and got nothing but fraud. But despite this, he manufactured his own car. Initially, its price and quality were so low that Time made fun of him and forced him to flop. He had become accustomed to climbing up and falling back to the ground not once, but many times. And this habit made him so strong that eventually this boy became the founder of the world's third largest car manufacturing company, Hyundai. But how did he end up? Welcome back to InfoX TV videos. Don't forget to subscribe. Viewers, Chung Ji-young was born in 1915 in a village called Tangcheon, Korea. This village is now in North Korea. At that time, all of Korea was one country ruled by Japan. Chung was the eldest of his 7 siblings, and due to poverty, the entire family worked in the fields. At the age of just 14, Chung had to leave school due to poverty and started working in the fields with his parents. He worked in the fields all day long, but he could only earn so much money that even after working, he had to go to bed hungry for many days. This situation made him think whether he would spend the rest of his life in this condition. He was fed up with his life, and eventually he ran away from home and went to Kwon City, 100 kilometers away. After going there, he started working with construction workers. He worked hard but earned little money. But even in this situation, he was very happy because the money he earned he was spending alone, and secondly, he was now free. But this freedom could only last for 2 months. His parents, who were looking for him, arrived in Kwon and found him and took him back to the village. They took away the happiness that had come to Chung's life for the first time and sent him to work in the fields again. But in reality, he had tasted the taste of city life. He did not want to live a village or farm life again. After that, he tried to run away twice again, but was caught and came back to the village and started working. One year, the harvest was very poor and there was a shortage of food in the entire village. It got to the point that he had to go hungry for many days. Chung thought that it was enough. He would not stay here under any circumstances. Now, he started planning to run away from home for the 4th time. And this time, it was his last attempt. This time, he ran away and reached Seoul, which is the capital of today's South Korea. He had made it his life's goal, that he had to leave the village and settle in the city. Then, of course, he had to do some work. After coming to Seoul, he did not leave any work. He worked as a factory worker in construction work and even did cleaning work. One of his qualities was that he did whatever he did with great dedication. After some time, he got a job delivering rice to a rice shop. Now he started delivering to people's homes on a bicycle. Due to this, the sales of the shop increased a lot, and the shop owner was happy and made Ching the manager of the shop. This was his first job in which he did not have to do any kind of labor, and he increased the sales of the shop to a great extent. In the meantime, the shop owner fell ill and was no longer able to run the shop. So he sent Ching his shop for a small fee. A boy who worked in the fields and ran away from home 4 times became the owner of a shop at the age of only 22. He worked hard at his shop, and in no time his rice shop was considered the best shop in the area. He was very happy, but in the meantime, an incident happened, and his small happiness was about to turn into sorrow that on July 7th, 1937, a Japanese soldier disappeared somewhere near the Marco Polo Bridge, and to find him, Japanese soldiers asked for permission to search for him in China, but when China refused to give them permission, a clash began between the two, which is known in history as the Second Sino-Japanese War. This war, which was fought over a small matter, continued for the next 8 years, and as a result, there was a severe shortage of rice in Japan and Korea. Now, because Korea was also occupied by the Japanese Imperial Army at that time, the Japanese government took over rice shops throughout Japan and Korea to meet the shortage. These stores included Chung's rice store, and now he was unemployed once again. His 2 years of hard work and his savings were multiplied by 0, but Chung did not give up. He now started looking for a job that was not occupied by the Japanese army. He shortlisted a lot of ideas and finally decided to open a car repair shop. But the problem was that now Chung didn't have any money to start this business. He took out a loan of 3,000 won and started a new business called Edu Service Garage. But it turned out exactly the opposite of what he had thought. They say that trouble doesn't ask before it comes. Suddenly, a fire broke out in Chung's new garage. The garage was engulfed in flames, and all the cars parked in it were also engulfed in flames, and Chung was responsible for all the damage. This time, Chung was in big trouble. He had to pay off both the 3001 loan and the loss of customers. But he did not give up. He took another loan of 3501, reopened the garage, and gradually managed to cover all the losses. Now he focused on growing his business. For the next 2 years, Chung continued to grow rapidly. He started giving jobs to people in his garage. He had 70 to 80 people working for him. The growth was so great that he called his entire family from the village and settled in Seoul City. But another test came. At that time, World War II was going on and Japan was also involved in this war. Japan needed workshops to manufacture war materials, and that is why the Japanese government also started taking control of the workshops. Finally, Chung's garage was reopened. The Japanese government took control, but this time Chung was not at zero because he had learned from the previous loss and had saved 50,000 won so that he could start another business. After a short time, World War II ended, and with it the Japanese government in Korea had also removed the biggest obstacle in Chung's path. Korea was now divided into two parts, North Korea and South Korea. As soon as the situation normalized, Chung came back to Seoul in 1946 and started a car repairing business again. With a new identity and a new name, this time he named the business Hyundai Auto Service. This is a Korean word that means modern. Now Seoul was part of South Korea, which was under American influence. American forces were often present in South Korea, and Chung saw that the American army had to construct buildings to house American forces that he thought that if he started a construction business, he could make a lot of progress. That's why in 1947, he founded a construction company called Hyundai Civil Works. The construction company initially got jobs to construct small houses or build a few kilometers of roads, which is enough for any new business. But Chung wanted to get big projects. But circumstances put a brake on his thinking once again. On June 25, 1950, North Korea attacked South Korea with the support of the Soviet Union. Seoul City was close to the North Korean border, so Chung felt threatened and fled Seoul to Busan. But this time too, Chung did not give up. He assessed the situation and started thinking of a scheme to make a profit from the war situation. He saw that the U.S. Army had come to help South Korea, and there was a need for tents, warehouses, and some buildings, etc. to house the army. Chung started the construction business again and offered to the American officials that if the budget was right, he would undertake any kind of construction. America was a superpower and budget was never a problem for them. The American officials started giving orders to Chung's company. Chung and his team worked hard day and night and completed every project. The advantage of this was that the war was over, but a good working relationship had been established between the Americans and Chung. Since Chung was close to the Americans, good relations were established between Chung and the South Korean government. Many roads and bridges were destroyed in this war. The South Korean government gave projects for the reconstruction to Chung's company Hyundai. Chung's company had developed so much that even mega projects like dams were built by this company. South Korea's largest dam, Soyeong, was also constructed by Hyundai, and the largest Gyeongbo Expressway, there was also the property of this company. Because Chung had good relations with the South Korean government and the Americans also liked him, he could easily import heavy machinery used in construction from you. And because of the good relations, he could also get contracts. The construction company had already been established, but Chung wanted to get back into his old car business. This time, he thought of doing something more than just car repair. In 1967, he started the Hyundai Motor Company. Soon, Hyundai entered into a partnership with Ford. Ford's Cortina car was famous in the market at that time. So Hyundai made an agreement that they would use Ford's technology to assemble the Cortina car and sell it in South Korea as a Hyundai version. This agreement was quite successful and Hyundai also made a lot of progress from it. But the South Korean car market was quite small. According to an estimate, there was only a market of 30,000 cars and there were very few chances of growth in it. That's why Hyundai wanted to export this car internationally, but they had a disagreement with Ford. Ford said that our agreement was only for the South Korean market. Hyundai exported it, and that's why the partnership between Ford and Hyundai broke up. Immediately after this deal broke down, Chung started looking for a new partner, and soon he signed an agreement with Mitsubishi Motors. Mitsubishi was now ready to give Hyundai car production technology. After this deal, Hyundai produced its first car, which was named the Hyundai Pony. The price of this car was very low, but it was its price that made Hyundai Pony famous in the market, and soon it made Hyundai the largest car company in South Korea. But as we mentioned earlier, at that time the car market in South Korea was very small, so there was not much chance of growth there. Hyundai started exporting the Pony internationally. This car was successful in many countries, as it was very popular in Canada, but Hyundai wanted to launch it in the largest car market in the US. But the US rejected this car due to not meeting the federal emission standards. Jung did not give up and made further improvements to the car, and finally, meeting the standards, it was launched in the USA. This improved version of the Hyundai Pony was introduced in the USA under the name of the Hyundai Excel. The price of this car was about $5,000, which was almost half the price of other cars. Therefore, this car started selling quickly in the USA from the beginning. The profit of Hyundai Motors had now reached the sky because their business had now spread from South Korea to the USA. Because it was so cheap, people started making fun of it that if you filled a fuel tank in the Hyundai Excel, the value of the car doubles. While its price was reasonable, its quality was not good compared to other cars in America, and people had to get it repaired repeatedly. Seeing that the Hyundai Excel flopped badly in America, Hyundai, not giving up, started working harder and started introducing new models along with its engines and parts. These new models started making a name for themselves in other countries, including America. This time, their quality was also good and they were affordable, so customers were happy with them. Soon, Hyundai started to be counted among the world's major car companies. Ching Ju-young, who started his journey by selling rice, had now become the owner of a successful multinational company. Due to old age, his health was no longer the same. So he retired and handed over the company to his sons. Ching passed away in 2001, leaving behind the world's third largest car manufacturing company. But there are some facts related to Hyundai that you may not know before. Hyundai's logo does not show the first character H of Hyundai, but rather two men shaking hands. One is a company representative, and the other is a satisfied customer. Hyundai's manufacturing plant in Ulsan is the largest in the world, which can produce 1.5 million vehicles annually, and worldwide Hyundai produces more than 6 million vehicles per year. I hope you will like and share this video of InfoX TV. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next wonderful video. Take care.